Hi folks, StrategicWolf here and welcome to part 4 of my tips for beginners here on the channel, okay? Today we are starting these keywords, okay? We're going to have talk about a lot of the keywords and some of the statuses, okay? And just before we start them, I'm going to just talk to you about the color of the numbers for your base power and how they change when they turn green and red depending on being boosted and damaged. I'll show you that first and then we'll jump into the keywords. Now, I'm not going to cover all the keywords in this video or all the statuses, but we're going to do a big chunk of them, okay? And then we're going to mop up the rest of them and finish them all up in the next 6 videos, which are going to be faction-specific videos. One for Northern Realms, one for Nilfgaard, etc. Okay? Now I have all the keywords written down. I have all the statuses written down. I'm ticking them off as I'm doing them, so don't worry, I won't miss any. Okay? Between this video and the next 6, we do the faction-specific videos. I will cover all the keywords and all the statuses. Okay? Now, if you do, excuse me, if you do find this video helpful, please leave a like. Please subscribe to support my channel. I am having an absolute blast creating content for you all. You're so appreciative, and it's just making my day. Okay? So if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe. Help my channel to grow. I'm just having the best time, and that's all down to you folks. So thank you very much. Right. Let's have a little look at how the numbers change and then we'll start those keywords. So, just before we start into the keywords, I want to just show you how the numbers will change colour, okay? So if we play a card like, for example, Blue Stripes Commando, okay? As you can see, the number is currently just white, okay? So it's at its base power, okay? Its base power is 4. Now I'm going to use my leader ability, because this is a old school double commandos deck that I recently used in a video. So I'm going to use my leader to boost it by 1 and give it Zeal, okay? Which we'll come to the keywords like Zeal in a moment, okay, in this video. Okay, so I'm just going to boost it by 1. So now you can see its number has changed to green, okay? So it's now higher than its base power. So I like to think of this as being like it's super healthy, which is good. So it's green, okay? Now, let's end the turn. Okay, I'm going to now show you when a card is damaged. Okay, a unit is damaged. Okay, so here we go, Redanian Archer. Okay, now I'm going to use this to damage Pugo. Now Pugo is currently at 10 base power. Now when I damage him by 1, it'll decrease to 9, and the number will turn red, okay? There we go. So as you can see, my Blue Stripes Commando, which should be base power 4, I boosted it by 1 to 5, and has turned green. I have used my Archer to damage Pugo from 10 down to 9. I've damaged him by 1, okay? And its number, Pugo's number, has now turned red. So the way I think of it is that when it's green, it's above its base power, so it's really healthy, okay? It's been boosted up. So I just think of it as green, like really healthy, like green grass, nature. That's probably really silly, but it's just the way I think of it, okay? And red, it's been damaged, okay? It's been attacked, so it's been bloodied, okay? I'm not going to say it's bleeding, because bleeding is actually a status that we'll come to in the future. So I'm not going to say that red means it's bleeding, because that's just confusing. I know I've said it now, but I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is it's damaged, okay? So it looks bloody. There's blood. It's been damaged. It's injured. Hence the red, okay? And one last thing I'll mention is just armor. So for example, with Redanian Archer. Now Redanian Archer has 2 armor. So if this card is targeted by my opponent, for example by 1 damage, its number will not change. Its armor will change. Its armor will decrease by 1. So its armor protects its base power, okay? Or even its boosted power, okay? So armor will absorb the damage first. So let's just see if we can actually get our opponent to damage our Archer. We might not. We'll see. Here we go. Might damage our Archer. It didn't. But as you can see, this has now turned red because it's been damaged. So that's pretty good to show that. Let's just do fallible. Okay, so as you can see, this is really damaged now, so still red, and it's decreasing each time. This is now decreased. Let's boost this back up again. Now it's green again, okay? And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think this is actually going to damage the armor, okay? But give it one last chance. No, it's not. Okay, but that's it. I just wanted to show you how the numbers change, okay? So if it's boosted above its base power, it turns green. If it's damaged beneath its base power, it turns red. And armor absorbs damage before the health or the base power changes. Okay? Now, let's finally, at long last, jump in and start those keywords. Let's do it. Okay, so let's start with pretty much the most basic one there is, which is deploy. Okay, so the deploy keyword means when you play the card from your hand, so you deploy it on the board. So let's start with a real simple one. Let's start with per effing infantry. Okay, so deploy, boost self by 4. So this will end up being 5 points on the board when deployed. There we go. Let's end the turn. I'm going to do one more pretty simple one for deploy abilities, okay? So deploy just means when you play the card from your hand. Now, of course, these are very simple deploy abilities. A lot of cards, like the legendary cards, have really important, really intricate, and can cause real swings in your games. Swings is like point changes and taking the lead. So they have deploy abilities that are a lot more vast than just these, okay? But these are some basic examples, okay? So Peasant Militia, deploy, boost an allied unit by 2. So we're going to deploy Peasant Militia, and it will boost per effing infantry from 4 to 6. There we go. So that's some basic deploy ones, okay? Now we're going to move on to orders. Okay, so what is an order? I'll just wait till it takes its turn, the opponent. Okay, so now let's talk about order abilities, okay? So an order ability cannot be used the same turn as the card is played. Okay, you have to wait until the next turn. So let's play our prize-winning cow, which order ability is transform into a short. Now as you can see, the little order thing is little Z's for sleep. So it looks like it's asleep. It can't be used, okay? We have to wait until the next turn. So let's end our turn. And then you'll see this will turn green. And then we can use it next turn.
There are things in the universe of which even the sages have not dreamt.
Find them. Alert to arms!
Okay, so now it's turned green, so we can now use our order ability. So transform into a short. And there we go. That's our order ability complete. Now, another card that has an order ability is Eternian Mauler. Now it's got a row dependent order ability. It has to be played on the melee row. So once played on the melee row, it will damage an enemy unit by 2. Now, as I see it, order abilities have to be you have to wait until the next turn to trigger an order. That is, unless you can give that card Zeal. Okay? Now Zeal is the key word, and I'll just show you there. So Zeal, Z-E-A-L. Zeal means that the order ability can be used in the same turn. So we're going to play a Petrie's Filter onto the board. Okay? Now it actually has Zeal itself, but that's not important. We're not worried about that. Some cards do have Zeal. I'll show you Vincent in a moment. But we're going to end the turn because we're going to play our Mauler next turn. And we're going to give it Zeal, so we can use the order ability the same turn that it's played. Okay?
We must trust each other.
So let's play our Eternian Mauler on the melee row. It's row dependent. Now as you can see, it's asleep. Okay, the order ability can't be used this turn. We would have to end the turn and wait till next turn. However, a card like Petrie's Filter, there are other cards as well that give units Zeal, but Petrie's Filter is one of them, and it's a pretty basic neutral one that you could probably get pretty early on. Now it is Zeal itself, which means that it can use its order ability the same turn that it's used, but we'll not worry about that at the moment. So its order ability is boost an allied unit by 3 and give it Zeal. So as you can see, the Eternian Mauler is currently asleep. We're going to wake him up. Going to give him Zeal. So now, we haven't ended the turn, we're still in the same turn that the Mauler has been played, but we can now use his order ability. So let's damage Odo for 2. There you go. Okay. End the turn. I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you a card that has order and has Zeal itself, okay? And that card is Vincent. Okay, we'll play him next turn. And now we've done deploy, order and Zeal. Just like that. Okay? So now, Vincent is of course row dependent as well, order on the melee, but he has Zeal. So as you can see, we play him, he has a little ×1 symbol. He doesn't have the little Z's like the Adernian Mauler has, because he has Zeal himself. He doesn't need to be given Zeal by a card like Petrie's Filter, he just has Zeal himself. And he sets the power of a non-boosted enemy unit to 1, so we will do that on the botchling. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. There's deploy, order and Zeal all together. Pretty simple. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to look at Barricade, Exposed, which are both related to armor. Okay, so look at here at our Redanian Knight. Now its Barricade ability, it has to be played on the ranged row, so some, as we all know, some abilities are row dependent. The Redanian Knight, its Barricade ability is dependent upon the ranged row. And as long as it has armor, it will boost itself by 1 at the end of the turn. Now Barricade, think of a barricade, if you're under siege, you place up barricades, they're there to protect you. So the armor protects the units. So Barricade means that the unit must have armor. So if the unit has armor, its Barricade ability will take place usually at the end of the turn, or whenever the barricade, but it will trigger the Barricade ability, okay? So we play a Redanian Knight on the ranged row. Once we end our turn, it will boost itself by 1. Now, a lot of Barricade cards, not all of them, but some of them, have exposed keyword as well. Now what exposed means is when the armor is removed. So when they lose their armor, something happens. Sometimes the card might be destroyed. Sometimes it'll, like for example with the Redanian Elite, it will reset itself. Okay, Redanian Knight will move to the melee row and damage the highest enemy unit by 2. Okay, so let's end the turn and this card will boost. There we go, it's boosted by 1 because this Barricade ability is working. Okay.
Left, right, left, right.
Okay, let's play another Redanian Knight. Okay. Okay, so they both still have armor. So both Barricade abilities will still trigger at the end of the turn. So we will get 2 extra points. We will go up to 5 this time. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm actually hoping that this will damage this one, just maybe to expose it, and I'll show you how exposed works.
Death alone us follows.
Oh, well, it's going to hit one of them anyway. There we go. So, this Redanian Knight was exposed. So, the exposed ability triggered. It lost all its armor, so it was exposed, so therefore it moved itself to the melee row, then damaged the highest power enemy unit by 2, which in this case was the Trident Infantry, but because the Trident Infantry had a shield, it didn't actually do any damage, but we'll get to shields in the future. Okay, so that's Barricade and Exposed. Now, before we go any further on to keywords, I'm going to show you some of the very basic statuses. Okay, so these include things like bleeding, vitality, lock, shield, okay, things like that. So we're going to look first of all at bleeding and vitality, okay? So, if you look at a card like Cutthroat, Cutthroat's deploy ability, we all know what deploy is, gives an enemy unit bleeding for 2 turns. Okay, so if I play Cutthroat and I place it on the Temerian Drummer, which is a perfect example. Okay, so now a little red arrow has come up beneath the base power, okay, pointing downwards. So that means it has a bleeding effect. So at the end of every turn of the owner's turn, it will damage that card by 2, okay, or sorry, by 1, sorry, okay. In this case, for 2 turns. The number is the number of turns, okay. So I'll end the turn, nothing will happen. The opponent will play a card, and at the end of their turn, the Temerian Drummer will be damaged by 1 because it's bleeding, okay. Bleeding and vitality, which we'll do vitality in a moment, both ignore armor. Okay, so watch this. I end the turn. It's now the opponent's turn. They will play a card. They could pass, but they'll probably play a card. There we go. Okay. And once they end the turn, the Temerian Drummer will be damaged by 1 because of the bleeding effect, and it ignores the armor. So at the end of their turn, there, it's been damaged by 1 because it's bleeding. Okay. Now let me show you Vitality. So if I play Oxenford Scholar, its deployability give an allied unit Vitality for 2 turns. So let's play it here, and let's place it on the Redanian Knight. So now, as you can see, the Redanian Knight now has a little green arrow pointing up the way, okay, and a little 2. So the number is number of turns. So at the end of the owner's turn, in this case my turn, because I own this card, okay, the enemy owns the Temerian Drummer, so it's the end of their turn when the bleeding takes place, but it's the end of my turn when the Vitality takes place. Now, likewise, if the opponent placed bleeding on my side of the board, it would take place at the end of my turn. And if the opponent has Vitality on their side, it will take place at the end of their turn. Okay, so I will now end my turn, and my Vitality will increase the Redanian Knight by 1. Okay? There we go. So that's 2 of the most basic statuses there are. Bleeding and Vitality. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to show you the lock status, okay? And then I'm going to show you poison, okay? I'm not going to do shield at the moment. I'm going to leave shield for the Northern Realms specific video, because Northern Realms isn't the only faction with shields, but the majority of shields are found in Northern Realms. I'm going to do lock status now and poison, okay? So, as we can see here, we have the Temerian Drummer. Now, Temerian Drummer is an engine card. At the end of your turn, boost a unit to the right by 1. So engine cards will develop points over time, okay, and gain greater value over time. This is also an engine card, okay, but this will only damage an enemy when boosted, okay, boosted by this. So we're going to lock the Temerian Drummer, okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to play this guy whose name I can never pronounce, Barricade of Zeal, to lock it. But first I'm going to prove to you that I'm not lying, that this actually does boost this, okay? So we're just going to play a random card. I'm just going to play Sentry Enchantress and give some Vitality to the Endurnian Mauler, okay? We're going to end the turn, and the Drummer is going to boost the Trident Infantry by 1, okay? So they will go up to 14 points. Sorry, 14 points at the end of their turn. Sorry. Sorry, so they actually go now to 21. 22 now, when they end the turn, 22, okay? So that boosted the Trident Infantry. Sorry, I was thinking completely wrong there, okay? So, now I'm going to lock it, okay? So, his deployability is lock a unit. So we're going to lock the Drummer. Now it has a little red X with a little padlock on top. Okay, so it's now locked. That means its ability is disabled, so its ability will not work. Okay, so we're going to end the turn. Let the opponent take their turn. At the end of their turn, the Drummer will not boost the Trident Infantry. Okay, so their points will stay the same. So they're going to have 29 points. End the turn, it stays the same. This did not increase. It was at 13, it has remained at 13. Because we have locked the the Temerian Drummer. Okay, so the Temerian Drummer did not boost the Trident Infantry because his ability has been locked. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about the poison status, okay? So here in this situation we have an Elven Swordmaster on the opponent's side of the board. And this is another engine card, okay? It's going to keep damaging our units by 1 every 2 turns, and the cooldown is decreased by 1 when they play an elf. So it's going to get a lot of value over time. So it's a good card to poison, okay, and get rid of. Now, there are different ways of poisoning. Some are like unit cards with King Cobra, and some are like special cards like Devil's Puffball. So we're going to play Devil's Puffball first to poison this. Okay, now as you can see, it's got a little symbol, a little conical flask for any scientists out there, full of green stuff, toxins. So this card is now poisoned, okay? Let's end the turn. Now, to destroy a card, it needs 2 poison statuses. So 2 poisons will kill an enemy unit, okay? Okay, so it has one poison. Now let's play the King Cobra to poison it again. So now it will have 2 poison statuses which will destroy it. So here we go. Now it's destroyed. Okay, so that's the poison status. So you poison it once, it gets that little conical flask, green conical flask, and the second time, once it has 2 poisons, it's destroyed. Okay? Now, let's get back to some more keywords. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about the bonded keyword. Okay? So, bonded means you control 2 of the same cards. So, Centurion Enchantress has that bonded keyword. So, her deployability, which is dependent upon the ranged row, is give an allied unit vitality for 2 turns. Bonded, give it vitality for 4 turns. When I play the first one, she'll give a unit vitality for 2 turns. When I play the second one, it'll be vitality for 4 turns. So, let's play the first one, and let's give the vitality to Margarita. So there you go, vitality for 2 turns. Okay, next turn we'll play the other one. And give vitality to the Iron Falcon Infantry. But at this time it'll be for 4 turns because we have that bonded. Okay? So, here we go. Playing this one now. And we have 4. So the first one give 2. That's the deployability. Okay? And then, because we have already had 1, we can now control 2. The bonded kicks in, so the deployability changes to vitality for 4 turns. Okay? That's what bonded means. Bonded means you have 2 of the same card. Now, obviously not any card, only the ones that have the bonded keyword. Okay? Mahakam Marauder is another good example. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 more. We're going to do Deathblow, and we're going to do Banish. Okay? So, first of all, we're going to do the Centurion Knight. So his deployability on the melee row is to damage an enemy unit by 2. If he gets the death blow, now death blow is if you kill that unit, okay? So it's a killing blow, it's the death blow. Okay, and just perfectly we have a little Scoia'tael Neophyte at 2 base power. So the Centurion Knight will kill it. So it'll get death blow. And death blow means it will gain vitality. So Centurion Knight will gain vitality for 2 turns. So let's do this.
For the Queen!
There we go. We got death blow, we killed the unit. So we then gain vitality for 2 turns. End the turn. Okay, now I'm going to show you another death blow, which is Regis Bloodlust. And his death blow is actually Banish, okay? Now Banish means removing a card from the game entirely. Not sending it to the graveyard, just banishing it. Getting rid of it entirely, okay? So let's say, for example, I have locked the Vernociel's Commando, because it's an engine. But just in case I have something like a Mahakam Eel, okay, or some way of unlocking this, like a Purify, okay? So I'm actually going to get rid of that. I'm just going to kill this and banish it, okay? So if we look in their graveyard, they have a Neophyte, which we killed a moment ago, Vanguard, Ida, and a Swordmaster, okay? So 4 units, 4 cards in their graveyard. So if we play Regis Bloodlust, deploy on the melee row, damage an enemy unit by 4. This is at 4 base power, or 4 power, not base power, 4 power. So we will get the death blow. So we will banish it, okay? So watch this. We kill it. Got death blow, we banished it. Okay? It's gone. It's removed entirely from the game. If we look on the graveyard, it's not in the graveyard. It did not go to the opponent's graveyard. It didn't go to our graveyard. Okay? It banished. It's entirely removed from the game. The opponent has no way of getting it back. Okay? So that's death blow and banish. Okay? Another way of banishing cards is with the card Squirrel, okay? And it's very useful at banishing, for example, at the moment in the current meta, those pesky echo cards, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to show you a timer, okay? Now it's not actually a keyword, but it is kind of like a keyword, okay? So Siri Dash has a timer, okay, of 4 turns. So after 4 allied turns, on turn end, draw a card. Let's play Siri Dash here. I'm actually going to give her TA to help protect her, okay? Because we're playing against Northern Realms. Could see a boiling oil, okay? So let's use this to protect her. Okay, now when we end our turn, the timer will start to count down. So we need to do 4 allied turns for her ability to trigger, which is draw another card, okay? So let's end the turn. Okay, so you see it's counting down. Now only 3 allied turns left. I'm just going to play a few cards now just to show you when we get through a few turns, just to show you the timer. Okay? He's trying to damage us. So let's actually give it some vitality to make sure it stays alive. Okay? So now let's end another turn, and it will count down again. 2. Now, only 2 turns left. Okay, we'll play something else now. Maybe play a cutthroat, put some bleeding on that side of the board.
Are you wounded? Again.
Okay, let's play cutthroat.
I love my job.
Okay, now we're going to end the turn again. Our timer will count down. Okay, only 1 turn left now.
Left, right, left, right.
Okay, so let's just play something like... Let's just play Sentry and Enchantress. Okay. Now, this is the last turn, so once we end the turn, this will count down to 0, and Ciri Dash's ability will trigger, so we will draw another card. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in our hand. We end the turn, we will then have 7. Okay, let's end the turn, this counts down, and we draw another card. Okay, we now have 7 in our hand. So that's a timer. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to show you create. Okay, now the keyword create means adding a card to your game, and usually any cards that create give you 3 choices. So here's Radia. If you deploy her in the range, she creates a neutral stratagem. Okay, so if we deploy here, we should get a choice of 3. So here we have a choice of 3. So you can choose just this one, for example, and then we can use its order ability. Okay. So we created this card, we created Magic Lamp and added it into our game. Okay, so that's what creating cards means, okay? Another good create card is Triss Telekinesis. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to show you summon. Okay, now what summon means is to move a card directly to, or cards directly to the board. So they're not considered played. Okay, so if we look at Vesemir, his deploy ability is summon Eskel and Lambert from your deck to the same row, okay? So if we look at our deck, there is Eskel and there's Lambert. Okay, they have very similar deploy abilities. They basically summon each other, okay? One of the Witcher trios. The other Witcher trio is Ox, Letho and Serret. Now, so I'm going to deploy Vesemir, and he's going to summon Eskel and Lambert from our deck. So we currently have 11 cards in our deck. That's where Eskel and Lambert are. So now we're going to summon them from our deck. There you go. So now our deck is decreased to only 9 cards. They're no longer in our deck because they're here. Okay? So that's summon. To summon cards directly to your board. Okay? Okay, so now let's do spawn. Okay, now spawn means adding a unit to the game, okay? Or adding a card to the game. Normally units, okay? So a perfect example would be Germain. Germain, when deployed on the melee row, spawns 2 cows to his right and two cows to the left. So let's do that. Let's spawn 4 cows. There we go. We've spawned 4 cows. Let's end the turn, okay? And then we're going to play Volunteers, which is a special card that spawns 2 volunteers, okay? Smoke them out. And then we're going to do the keyword reveal next, okay? There's Delirium. Oh, he's killing some of our cows. How sad. All our cows are dead. Oh my goodness. Dear oh dear. Right, let's spawn 2 volunteers, okay? So we're adding 2 volunteers to the game. There we go. Let's push this guy back up. And end the turn. Now, next we're going to do reveal, okay? With Yennefer Divination. Okay? Just wait till it's our turn. Okay, so now Yennefer Divination, deploy on the range row, reveal a random unit from your deck, then boost an allied unit by its power. Now, reveal means showing a card from your deck to both players. So it comes out, you can see it, and your opponent can see it, okay? And then it's shuffled back into your deck, okay? In a random position, okay? So reveal a random unit. So let's do this. Let's see what we can find. Okay, Adernian Mauler. 4. Okay, so we can now boost something by 4. Let's boost a volunteer by 4. There we go. Okay, so that's the reveal keyword. Okay. Okay folks, so now last but not least we're going to do 2 more keywords, and that's it for this video. Okay, we're going to do purify and reset. Okay, now purify. Purify, earlier on we did statuses. We looked at bleeding, vitality, poison and locks. Okay, so we touched on some of the very basic statuses. Okay, now purify, the keyword purify, so now if we look at, for example, Geralt Axie has purify, Moon Dust has purify, Spring Equinox has purify. Purify means to remove all statuses. Okay, whether it's lock status, bleeding, vitality, shields, okay, whatever it is, purify will remove any status. Okay, so now I'm going to use Spring Equinox to purify all the units on this row. So I'm going to remove both the shields and the spying status. We'll come to spying in the future. Okay, it's going to remove all the statuses on this row. So all these have now been purified. So all the shields are gone. All the statuses are gone. Okay? And now I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to show you reset. Okay? I know that the opponent has passed. Okay? But we're going to have to keep playing because we're behind. They're winning. We're 1 round up. We have to keep playing. So we're actually going to reset some units. Okay? So what reset means is it puts a unit back to its base power. Okay? Now, whether that unit is boosted or damaged doesn't really matter. So sometimes you can use resets on your side of the board if your units are damaged to reset them back up to their base power. But mostly resets are used on the opponent's side, especially against, for example, Northern Realms, because they keep boosting units with engines like Anna Stringer. I think she's the best engine in the game, personally. That's only my opinion, though. So usually you're going to reset units back down to their base power. So if we look at Count Caldwell, his base power is 10. Excuse me, sorry, is 10. Okay, so we're going to reset him with spores. Excuse me. Okay, so it's going to reset him back down to 10. Okay, there you go. There's reset. Okay, now obviously that did move back up again. Okay, we're going to now reset. We're now going to reset the Immortal Cavalry, okay? Because now Anna won't boost this one because she's no longer inspired. So let's now do Geralt Axie to purify and reset the Immortal Cavalry back down to 3. It's been reset back to its base power. Okay? So that's purify and reset. Okay? Okay folks, so that's it for this video. I think we've made a really good start on the keywords and the statuses, okay? Now, next time we're going to be starting the faction-specific videos, and we're going to start with Northern Realms. So now we're going to do 6 faction-specific videos to mop up the rest of those keywords and the rest of those statuses, okay? So please stay tuned for that. If you found this video helpful, if you liked it, please leave a like. Also, please subscribe to help support the channel. I'm having an absolute blast creating content for you folks. You're so appreciative, you're so kind with your comments, and I'm really enjoying myself, so thank you. And if you haven't done so already, then please subscribe to help support the channel and allow me to keep creating future content, okay? And also, when you subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notification for all future videos, which will include deck guides and these tips for beginners video, okay? And once we complete the 6 faction specific videos and finish up all the keywords and statuses, I'm going to do some more advanced stuff like thinning, tempo, positioning your cards, and more good things like that. Okay, so please subscribe to support the channel and stay notified for all future content. Until next time, thank you for watching. Stay safe, folks.